everybody? Hope you're having a good Friday so far. So a couple things I want to talk about today. First of all, I'm going to start off on a good note. Not that I have a bad thing to talk about, but I'm going to start off positive. So last night were the Critics' Choice Awards, and Wonder Woman won Best Action Film, which is really exciting. So congratulations to Gal Gadot, Patty Jenkins, Zack Snyder, Chris Pine, everyone that worked on the movie, that was involved in the movie, the cast, the crew. That's a nice thing to see DC films, and especially a female-led superhero film, get recognized for that. So that was really cool. That was really nice to see that. And so yay for Wonder Woman. It just keeps getting recognition, which is really nice. So yeah, cool. Now, some of you may have seen some of the statements from Warner Brothers CEO Kevin Tsujihara about copying Disney. And I'm going to read a quote from him, but just to give an overview or some context, the article was from The Wrap, and he is basically talking about Warner Brothers doing their own thing and not copying Disney. You'll see why I'm going to read the quote and then I'll explain my frustration. So what he said is, Warner Brothers needs to continue doing what it's always done, producing the biggest, most diverse slate in the business. That's what made us successful. We can't do what Disney's done. It's worked really, really well for them, but that's not who we are. We need to continue to create a balanced slate of all types of movies and all genres. So, I mean, you might be saying, why are you mad? That's a good thing for him to be saying. Yeah, it is. But it's like too little too late. Thanks for freaking ruining Justice League in the process of realizing that. We all knew that. It doesn't take a CEO of a movie studio or a film expert or a film critic or whoever to realize that no, you don't need to copy Disney or Marvel. He didn't say Marvel, but he said Disney, same umbrella, whatever. Now you want to say that? After you completely changed, for the most part, Zack Snyder's vision for Justice League. And I know I have made a lot of videos ranting about Justice League and stuff, and I'm sorry. But it's just like the more that stuff comes out, and it's not very often that we see quotes and stuff from him regarding this stuff, so I wanted to make a video about it. And there hasn't been any response to the outrage over Justice League from them. So that's why I wanted to make a video about it too, because this is pretty much like the first sort of response we've seen to anything like that about the whole thing, which he's not directly addressing Justice League, but it can be, you can say that it's related to it, since that was their most recent movie, and it was pretty much their attempt at doing a Marvel-style movie, which you can say, no, it wasn't, but yeah, it was. It's obvious. And, it's like, it would have been nice for you to realize that before you put a stupid 2-hour pointless mandate, before you brought in Joss Whedon to just change a bunch of stuff, and it's too late now. Unless you release whatever version you have of Zack Snyder's movie, until then, people are not going to be satisfied with Justice League, because, like I said 1,000 times, yes, there are certain parts of the movie that we all love. But for building up so much excitement, so much anticipation since BVS came out, for those of us that love that movie, a year and a half of building up anticipation, excitement, and then still, even when Zack Snyder had to step down, all of us still defending you guys, saying, no, it's still going to be Zack Snyder's movie. It's still going to be Zack Snyder's movie. Blah, blah, blah. And then clearly it wasn't, for the most part. And so, yeah, a lot of us are still mad because we feel like the fans were just tossed to the side and the people who didn't like their movies were the ones that were catered to. And I understand you want to have as big of a fan base as possible, but that doesn't mean that you just completely throw out the people who actually like and defend your movies and just try to please the ones who don't. You're never going to be able to please everybody. So just focusing on trying to please everybody, like, that's just going to ruin movies, you know? So, yes, it's a good thing to hear him say that, but it's like I said, if they had decided to push Justice League back, maybe then this comment would have had more meaning. Because maybe then, we would have actually gotten something that was closer to what Zack Snyder wanted it to be. And, in one of my more recent videos, I was talking about how, yes, there are some of us that are still excited for upcoming DC movies, but we're still going to be worrying, and then we're going to have that thought in the back of our head, like, well, is it going to be ruined? Is it going to be changed? Is it going to be what we're expecting? Is it going to be what the director is expecting? Is it going to be what they're selling to us through trailers and, promotions and stuff? We're all going to have that thought now. Unless, they actually stick to what Kevin Tsujihara is saying in these comments and saying, we're going to do our own thing. We're not going to try to copy Disney or Marvel. Yeah, you shouldn't have, oh wow, maybe Zack Snyder actually did know what he was doing and taking risks and trying to do something different. And maybe he did know what he was doing with deconstructing his heroes and starting from a place where they have to evolve and they're not just perfect and happy all the time, and it's not just a perfect world, and it's realistic and there's deeper meaning and deeper story. Maybe he did know what he was doing. Wow, Man of Steel. This is the lowest grossing DC movie. The first Justice League movie made the least amount of money so far. That is really disappointing. And even critics and stuff, people coming out when the embargo was lifted, people all thought this was going to be the first DC movie to break $1 billion. I thought the same thing, especially after seeing that it was getting more of a positive response. Didn't even make nearly as much as Man of Steel. BVS. Or Wonder Woman. Or Suicide Squad. And Suicide Squad, in my opinion, is their worst one so far. And it's like, it's just unfortunate that if he does mean what he said about that, it's unfortunate that it took friggin' just ruining Justice League to make him realize that. You're so afraid to take risks that's what you did. You took advantage of the fact that your director had to step down because of a family tragedy. Took advantage of that to completely change his movie. And I'm glad it backfired. I didn't want Justice League to fail, but I'm glad that it's proving that catering to people's complaints didn't make a difference. It actually was worse. Didn't make nearly as much money. People are pissed off. Excuse my language. It doesn't matter. Critics' responses do not always matter. If you go and look at, say, Superman Returns with Brandon Routh, it had good Rotten Tomatoes score. Like 70 or 80 something, like pretty high. The audience score, no. And it didn't make any money. And it had the budget was as high as the Justice League, and it made no money. It doesn't matter. That just shows you it does not matter. Listen to your fans. Listen to your people who love these movies and who appreciate what Zack Snyder was trying to do. Yes, you can take some, feedback from people who didn't necessarily like certain things, but that doesn't mean you have to take every single little point and just go at it 100% and change everything. We don't want all of our comic book movies to be the same. We don't want every comic book movie to be like Disney or Marvel. There needs to be some variety. There needs to be some, there's no point to have different studios making these movies if they're all just gonna be the same. They're different characters, they're different stories, they have different backgrounds, different contexts, different material to pull from. Don't make them all the same. And yes, of course, depending on the character and stuff like that, some movies, they're all going to be different. Shazam's going to be very different from the movies we've had so far because it's a different character. He's a kid. Of course it's going to have comedy and, funny things and stuff. Yeah, of course. That's fine because that's that movie. Not all of the movies have to be the same. So yes, I'm glad he said what he said. But, and we'll see what comes of these, changes that they're having in their executive roles and stuff like that. But like I said, it's unfortunate that it took this for them to realize that, and I don't even know if they have fully realized it, even though he's saying these things, because they did the same thing with BVS and with Suicide Squad. Man of Steel and Wonder Woman are like the only movies that didn't get changed and chopped up. And Man of Steel, Kevin Tsujihara wasn't there at that time, so, he had more free reign. And even then, they were still kind of trying to prevent him from doing certain things that they thought were too risky, like having Superman kill Zod and stuff like that. But Christopher Nolan was coming to Zack Snyder's defense and stuff, so they let him do it. And with BVS, they were going to release the 3-hour cut up until like a couple weeks before the movie was released, and then they were like, no, we're not doing this. But see, with BVS, it was different because they had that finished footage that they could release. With Justice League, they don't have all the finished footage to release his cut or version or whatever you want to call it. So it's different. But they didn't change a bunch of stuff with reshoots. They just took stuff out that they could just put back in to release a 3-hour cut. But, it's like, after all that stuff with BVS and Suicide Squad, we have like, oh no, they're gonna learn, and they didn't. So, just because he's saying this now doesn't necessarily mean that they're gonna let their studio be director driven, as they have said before it is, which obviously no. But hopefully maybe now they will have some positive changes, and unfortunately I don't think we'll ever get the true vision Zack Snyder had for Justice League, but if it can have some positive impact moving forward, then that's a good thing. I just wish that it wouldn't have taken Justice League being ruined for them to realize something like that. But we'll see what happens. We'll see if Kevin Tsujihara stays on, which I don't see why he wouldn't, but supposedly his contract ends in March, and we'll see what happens after that. But I don't know why he would leave, but I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, sorry I went on another rant about Justice League, but like I said, when certain things come out like that, and like I said, we haven't heard much of a response or anything from Warner Brothers about Justice League, I like to make videos and talk about it, because I know there's still a lot of us out there that are disappointed in this whole situation. So anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts on that. Check out the links in the description. I do have a new link for the newest episode of the podcast that I'm on, so check that out if you've been keeping up with those. And thanks for watching, guys. We will see you next time.